and welcome to Mindful Thoughts. I'm so glad you're here. Honestly, this podcast was born out of quiet moments, late nights, rocking my baby back to sleep, feeling exhausted, but also deeply reflective. So I started to realize how many of us are carrying so much silently: the motherhood, the mental health, growth, healing. None of it is easy, and yet we often feel like we're supposed to just handle it all with a smile. So, I wanted to create a space that felt like a soft landing, a place where we could have a real conversations about the messiness, the beauty, the overwhelm, and the little moments that teach us the most. Hi, I'm Rhea. I'm a counselor, an educator, a new mom, and someone who's always been passionate about mental health. But more than anything, I'm just a human too, figuring it out as I go, just like you. Each week on this podcast, I'll be sharing thoughts, stories, lessons I've learned, and sometimes things I'm still learning. We'll talk about what it means to take care of our minds and hearts, how to show up for our kids while still honoring ourselves, and how to move through life with more awareness and grace, even on the hard days. And today, for our very first episode, we're starting with something I think every mom needs to hear: how to set boundaries, how to manage anxiety and the chaos, and how to ask for help without guilt. Because I've been there, I am there. And I know how heavy it can feel. So, whenever you are right now driving, folding laundry, maybe hiding out in the bathroom for just 5 quiet minutes, I invite you to take a breath. You're not alone here. Let's settle in and dive into this week's mindful thought. Be gentle with yourself, stay curious, stay compassionate, and remember, sometimes one small mindful thought is all it takes to shift everything. I want to tell you about a moment I had few weeks ago. So it was one of those days that the baby had barely napped. So I hadn't showered, dishes were piled up, and I was running on maybe 3 hours of broken sleep. So my husband was doing something, and I was full survival mode. So you know the feeling when your body's moving but your mind is somewhere far, far away. So and I just finally got my daughter to sleep. That pressure, rare moment of stillness. But someone is knocking the door and I froze and then I said, "What?" It was a well-meaning friend dropping by, so completely unannounced, just to see the baby. And in that moment, I smiled politely, said all the right things, but inside I felt this wave of exhaustion, frustration, and honestly, resentment. And later that night, when everything was quiet again, I sat with that feeling. I asked myself, why was it so hard to say no? Why did I feel guilty for needing space? That was the moment I realized I'd been carrying this invisible rule that as a mom, I had to be endlessly available for everyone. But becoming a mother doesn't mean disappearing. There's this primal instinct to give everything to our children, to pour ourselves out until there's nothing left. And yes, our love is deep and endless. But we're still people. We still have limits, needs, feelings, and those matter. So boundaries, I've come to believe, aren't selfish. They're sacred. They're not about building walls. They're about drawing gentle lines around what we need to feel safe, sane, and whole. And they can be simple. Quiet, unapologetic. It might sound like, no, not today, or I need some time to myself, or even just putting your phone on do not disturb after 8 p.m. because that's your time to breathe. But let's be real, setting those boundaries doesn't always come easy. There's that inner voice, isn't there, the one that whisper, "You're letting someone down. You should be doing more." I've heard that voice too. I still do. But I'm learning to answer it with something softer. I'm allowed to take care of me too. Because here's the truth: no one really says out loud when we constantly say yes to everything and everyone. So we're quietly saying no to ourselves. And that's not sustainable, not for us and not for the people we love. So if this resonates with you, and if you've ever felt like you're giving from an empty cup, I want you to know you're not a bad mom for needing space. You're a human one, and that is more than enough. Take a moment with me now. Close your eyes if you can. Take a breath in as you breathe out. Let go of that guilt, even just a little. You deserve rest. You deserve peace. You deserve boundaries that honor the incredible person you are. Not just the mother, but the whole you. And that's where it starts. One quiet moment, one honest no, one gentle reminder that you matter too. Let's hold the truth as we keep going. I remember a night not too long ago where I just stood in the hallway holding my baby, feeling like my whole body was buzzing. So it had been one of those days. She was extra fussy. I hadn't eaten a proper meal. The house was a mess, and every noise, every task, every need felt like it was pressing down on my chest. My brain wouldn't stop racing. I was exhausted but wired, anxious, tense, like something bad was about to happen, even though everything was technically fine. And I remember thinking, is this just what motherhood is now? Constant worry, this invisible weight that never goes away? If you're listening and you felt anything like that, maybe you're feeling it right now. I want you to know you're not alone. That kind of anxiety, that kind that hums quietly in the background or suddenly surges when you're trying to rest, it's so real and it's so common, especially for moms. We carry a lot, not just the physical load, but the mental one too. Did they eat enough? Are they developing the way they should? Or am I doing this right? Or am I enough? We're managing 1,000 invisible tabs in our mind all at once. And over time, that turns into something heavier. It can show up as tightness in your chest, an upset stomach, snapping at someone you love, or just this sense that you can never fully relax. And here's the thing I want you to know: anxiety is not a failure, it's not a weakness. It's your nervous system doing what it's designed to do, to protect you. But when it starts to take over, when it robs you of sleep, presence, or joy, that's the moment we gently, kindly say, okay, let's take a pause. Let's do that right now together. Whenever you are, if it's safe to do so, take a breath with me. Inhale slowly, hold, and exhale gently. Do you feel that even just a little? That breath is your anchor. It brings you home to now, to that moment where you are safe, and from that place we can start to get curious. You always ask yourself now, what's been triggering you lately? Is it the noise, the constant overstimulation, or is it the pressure you put on yourself to be everything to everyone? Maybe it's social media, that sneaky scroll that makes you feel like you're always behind. Awareness is superpower. The more we understand our stress, the sooner we can interrupt it with compassion. And when the anxiety gets big, when it feels like it's swallowing you whole, try something simple. Look around you and name, for example, 5 things you can see: your messy home, your baby, and then 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, or 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. It's a gentle way of telling your brain, we're here, we're okay, we're safe. But maybe most importantly, I want you to remember this. You don't have to do it all alone. You're allowed to say, I'm struggling. You're allowed to talk to a partner, a friend, a therapist. Even just whispering to yourself, I'm not okay right now, but I'm working on it. And it matters, that counts. And if the anxiety feels like too much, too constant, too loud, that's your body asking for more support. Reaching out for help isn't weakness, it's a strength, it's wisdom, it's love. So if today is a hard day, if your chest feels tight, if your thoughts are racing, if you feel like you're holding together by a thread, pause with me for just one more breath. Place your hand over your heart and repeat after me in your own way. I am safe, I am trying, I am doing enough, because you are. Even when it feels like you're not, even when it's messy and loud and overwhelming, you are enough. Let's take one more breath together. Inhaling peace and exhaling the fear. You've got this. And next, we'll talk about something just as important. That is how to ask for help without guilt. Because support isn't luxury, it's a lifeline. Let's keep going together. So let's talk about something that used to make me incredibly uncomfortable and still does. If I'm being totally honest, that is asking for help. I know even hearing those words might make you shift in your seat. I get it. There was a moment a few months into motherhood when I found myself standing in the kitchen, baby on my hip, tears in my eyes, trying to decide whether to wash the bottles or fold the laundry first. And instead, I just stood there frozen, staring, completely overwhelmed. My husband walked in and asked, "What do you need?" And you know what I said? "Nothing, I'm fine." But I wasn't fine. I was exhausted. I needed sleep. I needed space. I needed someone to say, "I've got this, go take a breath." But I didn't know how to say that out loud because somewhere along the way, I pick up this message that doing it all on my own somehow made me a better mom. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. And if you've been carrying that message too, I just want to gently say this: you are not meant to do this alone. Not motherhood, not life. You are not meant to hold all the invisible weight. The meals, the emotions, the planning, the pressure by yourself alone. That's not strength. That's survival. And mama, you deserve more than survival. So what does asking for help actually look like? Especially when your brain is screaming, you should be able to handle this. First, notice how your body is speaking to you. Overwhelm doesn't always show up in tears. Sometimes it's snapping at someone you love. Sometimes it's forgetting simple things. Sometimes it's scrolling for hours just to numb out. That feeling or of I can even think straight. That's a sign. In those moments, try asking yourself gently, what do I need right now? Who can I trust to help me carry this? Then comes the brave part, being specific. Instead of saying, I can't do this, try to say this. Can you take the baby so I can shower? Like a real shower. Or could you grab a dinner tonight? I just can't cook today. I'm feeling really heavy emotionally. Can we talk? Or can you help me find someone to talk to? Most people want help. They just don't always know how. And your clarity that gives them a way in. Now I know what you might be thinking, but I shouldn't have to ask. They should just know. But sometimes the most loving thing we can do for ourselves and for our relationships is ask anyway. And then let go of the guilt. The little voice that says you should be able to handle this. It's lying to you. You're allowed to have needs. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to say this is too much. Asking for help doesn't mean you're failing or falling short. It means you're wise enough to know that no one, not one of us, is meant to carry a life alone. And honestly, every time you ask for help, you're modeling something powerful. You're showing your children what it's look like to be human, to need, to receive, to be held. Sometimes asking for help looks like hiring a babysitter for 2 hours without guilt, or delegating to your partner without over explaining, or texting a friend and saying, "Can you just come sit with me?" Or letting your mom bring over food even if it's not your favorite. You're not a burden, you're a person, and your well being matters. So, right now, if you can close your eyes with me, place your hand over your heart, and just whisper to yourself, I do not have to do it all. I am allowed to ask for help. My needs matter too. So breathe that in, let it settle. You're allowed to be supported. You deserve to be supported. And coming up next, we're going to open the door to something deeply real and tender. That is the postpartum depression. What it looks like, how it sneaks in, how we begin to heal together. But for now, take another deep breath. You're doing amazing. So let's let's take a deep breath together before we go on into this next part. Because it's not always easy to talk about, but it's important, maybe and just maybe, it's the conversation someone out there really needs to hear today. So here it is. Let's talk about the postpartum depression, not the baby blues that come up or that come and go in those first few days, not the momentary tears over a spilled cup of coffee or a sleepless night. I'm talking about something heavier, stickier, more persistent. Something that doesn't just cloud your day, but sometimes clouds your sense of self. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed one morning, baby sleeping soundly in her kuna, and I just stared at the wall. I didn't feel sad exactly. I didn't feel happy either. And I felt nothing. And that nothingness scared me more than anything else. I had everything I ever wanted: this beautiful child, a loving partner, a healthy delivery, and still I felt like I was disappearing. And if you've ever felt that, like you're quietly unraveling, like you're watching your life from outside your body, or like you want to cry but can't even find the tears, you're not broken. You are not broken. Postpartum depression affects 1 in 7 women. That's not rare. That's not weakness. That's real. And it doesn't mean you don't love your baby. It doesn't mean you're failing. And it's absolutely not your fault. PPD can look like 1,000 different things: feeling numb or disconnected from your baby, even though you want to feel bonded, irritability that flares up unexpectedly, a deep, persistent sadness or guilt you can explain, trouble sleeping, or even your baby is sleeping. Or maybe it's just a constant sense of I don't feel like myself anymore. Sometimes it looks like rage, sometimes it looks like silence, sometimes it looks like smiling in photos while quietly crumbling inside. And here's the thing, this is not a reflection of your love. It's a reflection of how overwhelmed your brain and body are. It's a signal that you need care, not shame. And there is care, there is healing, there is hope. Getting help might look like talking to your doctor, or your midwife, or your therapist, a counselor, taking medication if it's right for you, or letting it be a tool, not a judgment. Joining a support group where you can say, I'm not okay, and be met with me too. Or even just telling one trusted person the truth about how you are healing, or what are you feeling right now. Asking for help doesn't make you weak. It makes you brave. It makes you human. We're not meant to carry this silently. We're not meant to bounce back. We're meant to be supported as we heal. So let's end this time together with a breath of softness. If you can, find a quiet place, let your shoulders drop, close your eyes gently, and let's breathe together. Inhale for 4 seconds and hold, and then exhale slow and easy. Now place your hand over your heart where it aches and loves and hopes, and repeat after me quietly or out loud. I am doing enough. I am enough. I am allowed to rest. I am allowed to ask for help, and I am healing. You are not failing, you are becoming. And this becoming, it's sacred, messy, beautiful, and absolutely worthy of grace. If these episodes resonated with you, and if your heart says, yes, this is me, please share it with another mama, the one looks like she has it all together, the one who's smiling on the outside but struggling inside. She might need this reminder too. We don't have to do this alone. Until next time, take care of your heart, be gentle with yourself, and truly know that you are held exactly as you are. Be kind to yourself, stay curious, stay compassionate, and remember, even the smallest mindful thought can lead to a powerful change. Take care, Mama, with love and light, Rhea. Bye-bye!